Hey, good morning. Hey guys. A little bit of a late start this morning. Um, had things to do, and my coffee. I mix it up with turmeric and grass-fed butter and MCT oil and a little bit of ginger and a whole bunch of stuff. It's great. So this morning, you know, as I become more aware that um, that I've been living in an illusion, it becomes more somewhat. I don't want to call it important because important isn't the word. Um, More obvious to me that my job, if you will, is to share that. So, what does it mean? What does it mean that we are living in illusion? And, and I just want to share that the idea of us being attached. If we're trying to find out, am I living in an illusion? Am I living in ego? Am I living in the Maya, or am I living in an awakened state? If we're feeling anxiety, if we're feeling anger, if we're feeling resentment, if we're feeling guilt or shame, then we're in the illusion. We're not really uh, here. We're not really. So it's hard because it's so real in a way. It feels so real, and that it seems to be the only truth. So how do we get out of it? You know, and you you're not going to want to get out of the illusion unless it's not working for you, unless you're feeling like, gosh, I'm not happy. Why is it that relationships don't work? Why is it that, I keep going from guy to guy? Or why is it that my finances don't work? Why is it that, and then sometimes if we get to that place, and for a lot of the people that I work with, they've gotten, beyond that place into a hopeless state, because they've drank themselves there or drugged themselves there. And so if you've got to that, like, fuck, there's got to be something else. Is this it? And a lot of people get there to that place and they decide not to stay. They take their lives. They say, this is it. I don't want to be here. Well, I'm hoping, I don't know if hoping's the right word, but I'd like to support you in awakening to another state that's actually already here. We don't have to work our way to it. It's interesting because a lot of what happens on the planet is teachings that help us to be more comfortable in the illusion. and you know, and teachings that allow us to kind of be better at acting in the illusion, and I don't want to be part of that. That's not what I would like to be part of. What I'd like to help is to show us, to show all of us the things that are holding us in the illusion, so that we can really relax out of it. It isn't. It's just right there. This space of awakening is just right here now. It's not. We don't have to go down the path. We used to say, I'm a seeker, I'm on the path. And there is no path, really. That is part of the illusion. The truth is that awakening happens now, not way down the road. But there are some practices or some things for some of us that can help us to detach, if you will, from our attachment. Detach from our attachment. In the 12-step world, when we do a fourth step, we actually look at a whole lot of the things that were keeping us in the illusion. Our angers, I'm mad at this guy, I have resentment towards that person, and those resentments and angers keep us in the illusion. Or our guilt and shame because of we look at our part in things and we realize that, oh damn, I really screwed that guy and I really messed with that woman, and so we see that our own past actions in some way keep us held in the illusion. So in the fourth step, in the 12-step program, we can expose all of this stuff. And fear keeps us in the illusion because we imagine that it's real. So in the fourth step, it says that we deal with our resentments. We write them all down on paper so that we can release them. And those are a freedom that comes from that. I watch people, men and women, both do their fifth step, which is that they expose all this stuff to God and to some other person, and they come out of there, they're like, wow, I feel so free. Something's shifted, and something has shifted because all of those things that were holding us in an old place are gone, are beginning to go, and we release them. We release our angers and resentments towards others, and we see how our guilt and shame of our own actions have held us in an old place, in the illusion, and so it's a beautiful way, a practice to allow us to. So if we see in our mind, when we have judgment, and judgment's like a resentment, we can let the judgment go, and Dr. David Hawkins, in his book Letting Go, really shows us over and over again how to do that, how to release those things as they come up, because they're in the system and they hold us in the illusion. We don't even know we're in the illusion because we think it's so real. And now, after that process, and then in that beautiful process, in the 12-step process, we have even a prayer that allows us to ask to have those things removed, the things we can't even see. And this step 7 prayer, and because we can't really muck around in the illusion to get out of the illusion. We can if we want to let go of or unattach ourselves. And you'll see lots of people, sometimes they'll go to India, or go be with a spiritual teacher, and they'll come home and they'll let go of everything. They'll realize that, they were holding on to their success, or they were holding on to their idea of how their child should be. And they just release all of that. Doesn't mean that they don't continue to parent, but they just release it. They realize that it was all just them trying to control. And so that releasing lifts them up. They're like, oh gosh, I don't have to make $10 million. I don't have to, and we let that go. And sometimes we let go of relationships because we realize that we were holding on to them because we didn't want to be alone. And that kept us in the illusion. So there's a lot of things we can do to free ourselves. And if we're interested, and then of course meditation, we get to watch the mind, because the mind is been conditioned strongly to the idea that we were not just characters in the play, but we were really, we were the character was us, and we really believed it strongly, and So as we meditate, we see too that the mind is not us, that we are not the mind. We are watching the mind. We're like, oh my gosh, look at that. And I don't mean from a place of psychosis. I just mean that we're like, oh, look, it has, it just makes shit up. And it does. And we get caught up in it. We're like, oh my gosh, look at that. And that can happen even at any level, I believe, of awareness or consciousness. But recovery time is so, it's like, oh, wow, look at that. I got upset or I got fearful. And we just catch our breath again. It's okay, and recovery time becomes quicker, and more we see that we can get sucked into the story and get engaged and get attached. So we let those go, and freedom is there. Peace of mind is there. There's no need to be so serious. There's no need to we spend so much time trying to change ourselves so we'll fit into the illusion. Well, if we just back up a little bit and realize that we're one with the universe, we are not separate, and we get lifted up. We move from the lower realms of fear and guilt and shame and anger and into unconditional love and acceptance and joy and courage, and we get lifted up, and it just happens naturally. And it doesn't mean that we're not able to function in this level. We're just not so attached. And we realize that we're here in a way to be ourselves, whoever that is, and not to play, a role that we think. We're just if we just slow down and breathe, the right next thing will appear. It just will know, and in each moment we'll know, and yeah, it may not be what you thought, and well, it won't be. So freedom is there, like boom, freedom is so available, and for all of us, and know that it's there, and even if your mind says that's bullshit, just recognize it, stick with it, and I have a suggestion that, be with some of the great teachers of the, even the current great teachers like Muji and Eckhart Tolle. Listen to those guys, and I listen to Russell sometimes. Russell Brand has such great practical, thank you. Russell Brand has such great practical stuff on a day-to-day basis, and he talks about detaching ourselves from the things that held us in, our old way of thinking, our old illusion. He's beautiful, and Alan Watts, who's gone, but Alan has lots of audio and lots of video. Ram Dass, those guys have all awakened. And they've left a great trail, or they're creating a great trail in the case of Eckhart and Muji right now. And there's many more, but hang with those people. And the more we do that, the more we see who we are, that we are, we're free beings. We're beings of light. We are, and I love the analogy. Can I just share one thing? I'll just share one more thing. When you're in the room and in the presence of a newborn baby, and there it is, it has no personality, no persona, no story to protect. It's just this beautiful, and I always cry. I always get tears. I get choked up because we're in the presence of love, of absolute love, of unconditional love. And that was you. That was me. That was us at one time. And then we took on all of this conditioning and all of this story and all of these ideas of ourself, not good enough and whatever, that, not smart enough. A lot of those conditioning, that were pumped into us as a child by unknowing people who just didn't understand, and so then we grew up thinking that to be true, and we became that. And then at the end, when we pass, if you've been with people when they die, when we leave the body, it's beautiful. Again, we feel the presence. We sense the presence. It's so, because all of the story's gone. If they know they're going, all the story's gone. They're not trying to hang on to anything. They're just there in love. So in between, we can live that way. We truly can. Because that's who we are. It's who we are when we came in. It's who we are when we go out. So why can't we be that now? We can. Yes. Okay, you guys. I'm going to read really quickly. I've been reading from this book. The what's it called? 24-hour day book. And I have these little inspirations that come that I just shared, and I'm always going to do that. And sometimes the book, I get to the page and I go, oh my gosh, it's quite similar to what we just spoke about. Oh, and sometimes it isn't. Anyway, sometimes it's I think we're August the 9th, are we? Are we August the 9th? August the 10th? Yeah, August the 10th. Okay, August the 10th. I'm going to read this for you. It's from the 24-hour day book. It's it's a book. It was written in 1954 by a fellow, I think, who was quite aware and quite awakened in it. And it's been a staple in the 12-step world. By the way, the 12 steps are steps to awakening. They're not just a recovery step. They really are awakening to who we are. It's a beautiful spiritual program. One of the most simple, free of dogma type of programs that there is on the planet, really. So, okay. It says August the 10th, AA thought for the day, or the 12-step thought for the day. The tremendous fact, it says, for every one of us is that we've discovered a common solution. That's what I was just talking about. We who have found this solution to our life problems, alcoholic problems, addiction problems, who are properly armed with facts about ourselves, can generally win the entire confidence of another alcoholic. So he's talking about the 12-step work that we do. So as we give this away, we're lifted up. We're lifted up because we give it away totally altruistically. We give it away without any concern of return. And it's a beautiful way. Armed with the facts about ourselves, can generally win the entire confidence of another alcoholic. We, who are making the approach to the new prospect, have had the same difficulty as he had. We obviously knew what we were talking about. Our whole deportment shouts at the new prospect that we are men and women with a real answer. That's right out of our 12-step big book, right out of the book. I got to turn this light on because I can't see the printing on this thing. And because the next on the page is, I don't know if you can see that, the thought for the day is kind of bigger print than the meditation for the day. It gets smaller. And I'm too young for glasses. All right, so maybe I'm a little deluded. Anyway, for staying, here's the meditation of the day. For straying from the right way, there is no cure except to keep so close to the thoughts of God that nothing, no other interest, can seriously come between me and God, or you and God. Sure of that, you can stay on God's side. There's no real God's side. It's But anyway, it's hard. Language is hard. It's hard to really speak about a relationship with God because we then end up speaking of this thing as other, separate from, and it's not separate from. We are in it. We are it, and but it's hard to describe that as well. So speaking about it is it's not easy, and it's hard to for him to write about it. But anyway, it's working. Knowing the way, nothing can prevent your staying in the way, and nothing can cause you to seriously stray from it. God has promised peace if you stay close to him, but not leisure. Peace but not leisure. There we go. You still have to carry on in the world. He has promised heart rest and comfort, but not pleasure in the ordinary sense. Peace and comfort bring real inward happiness. Peace and comfort bring real inward happiness. So yeah, it's hard because we talk about these concepts of, and in the book, in the 12-step book, the big book, Bill Wilson, I think, had 16 different concepts for God, and there are many in many languages that speak of the thing that can't be spoken of, and every time we speak of it, we limit it's in a way in our mind. So because we're trying to understand, we can't really understand. We can experience, but we can't really understand. I just had imagine you're climbing on a cliff. Maybe you're free climbing, and you're 1,000 feet above the ground, free climbing. How do you describe that? It's almost indescribable, or you're on a triple black diamond run, and you're just in the flow and skiing or snowboarding, and indescribable. You're so present, so you're breathing the moment, and you're one with the moment. There is no separation, and very difficult to describe, but that's who we are. When we came in, when we go out, and we can be that as we travel through life, free from anger, free from fear. Trust me, it's possible. It really is. Okay, prayer for the day. I pray that I may keep my feet on the way. I pray that I may stay on God's side. Not that there's a God's side, but I pray that I may stay one with God, that I can release all of the things that keep me separate. Okay, you guys, that's it. The call is a wake-up call. Wake up. The call is a wake-up call. Okay, love you.